Hello and welcome back to Viper Bites, and we are hitting the waivers here in week number 10, and I've got some waiver wire targets for you. Now, first, a little bit of housekeeping. If you are listening to us on the Vipers Network on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like this video. It is greatly appreciated. I love each and every one of you out there. Now, if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify or any of our other podcasting platforms, make sure to take a minute here and rate and review the show. Again, your support greatly appreciated. And of course, if you have comments, drop them right here in the YouTube channel right now. Drop them. Questions, drop them. If you see my Twitter handle there, at MattDonnellyFF, you got questions, slide in the DMs. I'm more than happy to answer each and every one of those questions as they come through. That being said, let's take a little bit of a deep dive here into the waiver wire. And let's talk about some of these teams that are not available this week. The Chicago Bears, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Houston Texans, and the New York Football Giants. We're going to talk about some streaming options here at the quarterback position in case you're looking for that fill-in for Justin Fields or Joe Burrow. Or, you know what? May the fantasy gods pray for you, man, because if you're relying on Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones, I can't help you. I'm sorry. The waiver wire is not going to help you that much. But let's talk about some of these streaming options that are available. Starting off in Duval County with Trevor Lawrence. If you're looking for that replacement for Joe Burrow this week, Lawrence may fit that bill. He is facing the 10th friendliest team when it comes to the quarterback position in the Indianapolis Colts. Look for Lawrence to be looking to play catch-up for most of this one, as the game script is very favorable to the quarterback this week. Another streaming option, New England Patriots quarterback Mac Jones. Like the Colts, the Browns have been bad against the pass, and Jones looks to be one of those great streaming options here in week number 10. Another one for you, Tua Tungavaloa. Now, hear me out here. He's on the waiver wire list again this week because he missed last week in what was supposed to be a fantastic matchup against the Houston Texans. I was kind of putting it out there as kind of a bit of a revenge type game. He heard the noise coming from Houston. He heard the Deshaun Watson talk. I really wanted to see him go out there and absolutely ball out. Unfortunately, he missed last week's game with that broken bone in that middle finger. Now, if he can't go, Jacoby Brissett is kind of got a sneaky value here. I'm not going to go out there and bang the drum for you to start him, but you know what? As a QB2 or super flex option, Brissett could give you some value here because he is playing the Baltimore Ravens, who happen to be the worst when it comes to defending the pass, defending the quarterback position, whatever it is. This game right here, Dolphins-Ravens, has all the opportunity to be an absolute fantasy shootout this week. It's going to be a fun one. Now, at the running back position, we're going to talk about rostership. Now, Jordan Howard is rostered in about 38% of leagues right now. That is too low. Now, let me play the game here. We thought back a week ago that Kenneth Gainwell was going to be the man. It turned out to be Boston Scott. Last week, we thought Boston Scott was going to be the man. Turned out to be Jordan Howard with 17 carries, 71 yards, 40% snap share. Now we're starting to believe it should be Jordan Howard, so it's probably going to be a Kenneth Gainwell week. But you know what? Trying to figure out this Eagles backfield week to week, it'll drive you nuts. At least we know Jordan Howard is finding the end zone. 3 scores in the last 2 weeks, and the Eagles seem to be more committed towards the run than at any point in Miles Sanders' career. So there's also that going forward. Now, another running back, Major, I know I got your support on this one, Romandra Stevenson. He got a little nicked up, so it's definitely worth monitoring the injury report as this week goes on. But he led all Patriots, not only in rushing last week, but in receiving as well. And he posted 106 scrimmage yards last week. So, yeah, he had a pretty good week. Now, another guy out there, Eno Benjamin of the Arizona Cardinals. Now is the time to go out there and grab him here. It looks like Chase Edmonds, he's going to miss several weeks with that high ankle sprain. And while James Conner has been good, he needs that Edmonds-type running back to be effective. Enter Eno Benjamin. I don't foresee James Conner being able to carry the load for an extended period of time. He's going to need to be given a break. And Eno Benjamin, what I saw, even dating back to Arizona State, he's going to be able to give the value to that Arizona Cardinals backfield, especially when it comes to the passing game. So I'm definitely a guy who's willing to take a flyer on Eno Benjamin. Another guy to take a look at here long and hard, again, heading to the Big Easy. Big trust for Mark Ingram. Now, Ingram and Kamara are doing what they do best, driving me absolutely crazy each and every week. Now, Ingram had 9 carries, 5 receptions, 64 scrimmage yards last week, while only seeing a 36% snap share. Now, Ingram has value as not only a handcuff, but as a deep play roster kind of guy going forward. He's a guy you could probably slide in there as a flex 3, maybe an RB3, depending on what your bye weeks are looking like. You could probably even slide him in there. Who knows? Down the stretch, Ingram's going to have some value. We've seen him have standalone value with Alvin Kamara in the past, and the better Ingram gets, the better Alvin Kamara is with the fewer touches. Alvin Kamara is one of those guys who can succeed with touches, but he can also be one of those guys who even performs better with less touches, if that even makes sense. But enter Mark Ingram. He's going to get a little bit of run there down the stretch as well. Now, at the wide receiver position, hopefully you listened to me last week. I've always preached it's better to be early than it is to be late. You know what? We're talking about, even when we talk about trades, it's better to trade a year early than it is to trade a year late. Well, listen, hitting the waiver wire, Michael Gallup's the first guy that comes to mind. I've been preaching him a couple weeks. He's been injured. He was on IR. Here's an opportunity to get him dirt cheap. Well, now he's coming back in week 10. You may have to spend a little bit more fab, but it's definitely worth it to get a player in one of the most explosive offenses in the National Football League. Look, the last time we saw Michael Gallup, he had 7 targets, okay? He's definitely a guy you want to get on as a wide receiver 3, as a flex going forward here. Now, another guy, Brandon Ayouk. Can we finally start trusting him? I'm not 100% sold, but you know what? Not a lot of people believed in him before. He got dropped in a lot of leagues. Now's the time to jump on him. And, 6 receptions, 8 targets. And that was with George Kittle returning the lineup. That's with Deebo Samuel still in the lineup. Not only did he have 89 yards last week on those 6 receptions, but he also found the end zone. He also may have fumbled the ball, but we're not going to dwell on the negativity here right now. Now, he's also got 2 weeks with double-digit fantasy points and back-to-back weeks of 7 or more targets. Things are starting to look up for Brandon Ayouk. I think we can start to believe in him a little bit more. Speaking of more, Elijah Moore. I don't know why I have him on here on this list right now. He should already be on your rosters. Like, we've been talking about him each and every week on the Waiver Wire show with Mike White, with Johnson. It doesn't matter. The only one who could slow down Elijah Moore is Zach Wilson. And, well, Zach Wilson's not back at least this week. Fire up Elijah Moore. It'll be good to go. Another wide receiver here, probably making his debut with the Las Vegas Raiders. He's going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder after Los Angeles Rams cut him. Desean Jackson is a guy that you can go out there and stash on your bench right now. He fits this offense and what they like to do. We've seen Nelson Aguilar be a field stretcher. We've seen what Henry Ruggs was able to do as a field stretcher. Desean Jackson is one of the greatest of all times when it comes to stretching the field. He is going to have some big plays down the stretch for the Raiders. Probably boom or bust each and every week. But you know what? Henry Ruggs was being consistent when he was given that opportunity the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Desean Jackson could fill a part of that void moving forward. Definitely a guy to grab right now. Another wide receiver that you're going to want to get, Donovan Peoples-Jones. DPJ greater than OBJ. Maybe Odell's dad can do a little bit of video cut up on what Donovan Peoples-Jones can do. No more Beckham Jr. And the Browns offense got clicking again last week. Peoples-Jones, more of a deep threat. He's limited ceiling there just based on the fact that he's not going to get the targets. He hasn't been getting the targets. But you know what? He doesn't need the targets. 2 catches, 81 yards, and a score last week. That is what Donovan Peoples-Jones is. You can trust him as a flex each and every week. I think the Browns are going to make sure to they may be a little bit petty here. Baker Mayfield may make a point of showing them what DPJ can do. Now, the tight end position, again, I refer you back to rewind this back to Michael Gallup. I'm referring to Logan Thomas the same way. Now, Thomas was dropped in a bunch of leagues. His rostership rate went down considerably. If he's on waivers, you've got yourself a tight end one the rest of the season sitting on the waivers. Go grab him. End of discussion. Now, another one of the favorites out of Duval County, Dan the Man Arnold. 4 receptions on 6 targets, leading the Jaguars in those categories against the Bills defense last week. And we know the Bills are tough. They're tough against running backs. They're tough against wide receivers. They're tough against tight ends. Except Dan Arnold, you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. Now, double-digit fantasy production in 3 of the last 4 games. Yeah, he should be rostered by now. Now, the last tight end we're going to talk about, Adam Troutman. Is Troutman finally becoming a viable fantasy option? Time will tell, but last week he saw 7 targets, hauling in 4 of them for 47 yards. Add in last week's production with the previous week, and Troutman has seen 13 targets in the last 2 contests. Now, when we talk about the tight end position, it gets dry pretty quick. It's between injuries and bye weeks and actually what this tight end position has done all season. You could probably find worse options out there than Adam Troutman. With that all said, this has been your tour of the waiver wire in week number 10. Glad for you to join me, and make sure to head over to fantasypoints.com, enter promo code 21Vipers10, get 10% off that subscription today. And you know what? We'll see you next time. Take care now.